Welcome to episode 69 on the Air Hug Community Podcast. Oh, hey, welcome. If you're new here, this is the Air Hug Community Podcast, and my name is Judy Arazosa. I am your host and virtual cheerleader. I would like to thank you for popping in and giving your time to a little listen here today. And just so you know, our goal here is to gear you up for a better day, a better week, a better month, and a better year. So here on the Air Hug Community, we focus on stories from guests and myself that touch on living well from your 20s all the way up until age 100. And let's not even limit it there. We cover all topics related to physical and emotional health. And a lot of the topics we cover are generated from Q&A sessions I have with my clients and also with conversations that I have with my BFFs on our walks that we love to take to stay connected. Hi, and welcome back to the Air Hug Community. I dare say the inspiration for today's episode came from a few different places, including my cat. So a lot of you know that our cat is 17 years old and likes to sleep with us and bugs us all night long. But we just don't have the heart to kick him out because he's so old and he's our last remaining cat from the last 17 years of having a number of cats. So anyways, that's just one of the inspirations. The other is this impending holiday season and this fake happiness. And then I came across this article, which was sent to me from the Wall Street Journal, written by Elizabeth Bernstein, and it talks about toxic positivity. And I'm like, yes, that's actually what I'm talking about. So why am I talking about my cat? Because when my husband and I wake up in the morning and we've had one of these nights where the cat has been poking at us all night long, we're not very happy. And my husband in particular is not very happy. He wakes up and he's crabby. And at first I would try to be like, oh, it's fine, the cat's old, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is it's not fine and it sucks. And so I've learned to just be quiet and just let him say his piece. I'm over there brushing my teeth and we just let it go. We acknowledge the fact that it was a sucky night. So that's a very minor way to talk about it, but that's what we're getting at today. But basically what we're talking about today is when saying cheer up backfires. So we've all heard the story when someone or something rotten happens and we feel compelled to say that it will all work out, or it was time to say goodbye, or, well, they were old and that's okay. Or if they were young, they were called to be an angel. Those lines are just not very comforting, and the situation sucks and there's no way to sweep it under the rug and make it better. So I'm talking about seeing the glass half full. The glass is not always half full. In fact, sometimes it's downright empty. And when we try to pass it off as being half full, we're being inauthentic, okay? And fake cheerfulness is useless. In fact, it's not only useless, it's annoying, and I would dare say it's even harmful. Because why is it harmful? It actually prevents us from dealing with our real feelings, okay? Which might unconsciously be the reason why we actually do try to confront with fake cheerfulness or toxic positivity. Because we don't want to have to deal with the uncomfortable conversation with someone or with ourselves of knowing that something is awful and that we can't do anything about it right now. So yes, it sucks, but it sucks more, I would actually say, to push it under the rug and forget about it. So according to her article in the Wall Street Journal, Elizabeth Bernstein talks about how saying don't worry or have a better attitude or blah, 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 blah really doesn't help the situation, right? And so I was very interested in this article, and she quoted a number of people, including a grief author of 6 books named David Kessler. And he, in fact, his last book was called Finding the Meaning, the Sixth Stage of Grief. And he defines toxic positivity as positivity given in the wrong way. It's a positivity that actually gives more anxiety or tries to bury or make light of or downright ignore a negative situation or emotion. And it tends to backfire. So again, as an example would be saying, cheer up, or, well, it was his time to die, or whatever. And personally, I have had a lot of anxiety about this over the course of time, especially when I have to give my condolences to someone in a situation where someone's passed away, because it's so awkward to have that uncomfortable situation. And I know, I want to say I'm sorry and I'm here for you and I care for you, but it's so tempting to just say the next wrong thing, which is, oh, well, it was God's will, or it was meant to be, or it was fate, or any one of those things. And it's always made me very anxious and nervous, like to the point like where I'm in line at a wake or a calling hours, and I get very nervous to actually approach the grieving, significant other or family of a loved one, So I just wanted to share that. But these things can suck, and it's true, and we tend to want to cover it over and sugarcoat it. But the problem is they don't go away if we don't work through them. And as children, I think this starts young, because I think as children, we're always taught to count our blessings and see things as good. In fact, when I was a teenager and I used to babysit quite a bit, the parents would always ask me when they came home, of course, how were the kids? And I would be deathly afraid to say the kids were rotten, or they were misbehaved, or they did this or that wrong, mostly because I thought it was a reflection on me. And so I would always lie and say they were good. But then I always had anxiety about babysitting, because then I'd be like, oh my God, these kids are going to be bad, and I'm going to probably tell the parents they were good. In the meantime, how do I deal with all that? It never took away the situation that I didn't really know how to manage bratty kids, frankly. But let's move on. The problem with not dealing with negative emotions is you can kind of think of them as like a closed circuit. And I love this analogy. This is from Natalie DiTillo, and she's a psychologist at Brigham and Williams Women's Hospital in Boston, and also a psychiatry instructor at Harvard Medical Center. And so she says that negative emotions are like a closed circuit, and that if we don't work them out and sit with them and let them happen, it's going to be like playing Wac-a-mole. We're going to squash them down and they're going to come up somewhere else. And we're going to squash them down and they're going to come up somewhere else. And it's going to keep happening. That will keep resurfacing over and over again. So it's far better for us to actually, when we're the ones dealing with the negative emotion, to actually sit with it. And I know you're thinking this is probably the opposite of what you would have me say, because I'm always the one saying be grateful and count your blessings. And that's true. And I think you can be grateful and count your blessings for some things. But when something really crappy happens, you have to deal with it instead of ignoring it or sweeping it under the rug, right? Because that little whack-a-mole is going to come up somewhere else in your life, and it's going to really wreak havoc. So what I'm saying is, don't be fake happy. Just be happy when you're authentically happy. And when you are talking to someone who's truly grieving or angry or sad or disappointed, just reflect back on their emotions. Reflect back to them what they're feeling. Because I think in fact, I know this, they are going to feel much better that you're actually acknowledging their anger or sadness or grief or disappointment instead of trying to rationalize it. So I think this is really important at this time of year, because everyone wants to be in the holiday spirit. So at the time of this recording, we are into the holiday season of 2021, somewhere between fall and New Year's. And there's a lot of encouragement to don't worry, just be happy, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is some of us are missing our loved ones, and some of us are disappointed maybe in that our relationships are not the way we want them to be. Or, people have all sorts of reasons for feeling sad or angry or grief-stricken or disappointed. And so if you want to be a true friend and a true help to someone, acknowledge what they're going through and just reflect back to them and just offer to sit with them. Or just let them know that you're available if they want to chat. And you don't need to try and solve their problems. They have to solve their own problems. So that's all I got today, but I think it's powerful, and I really wanted to share this thought with all of you. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you back here next Tuesday on the Air Hug Community Podcast. Do me one favor, please. If you haven't already, go on Apple Podcasts and give this a 5-star rating and subscribe to it, because Apple really loves to see subscribers and ratings, and they actually make the podcast more searchable when that happens. And I really would like for us to reach as many people as possible with our Air Hug community stories and messages. All right, ta-ta for now.